What's up guys, GenesisNexus here, and in today's video I'll just be talking about my thoughts on Wuthering Waves patch 2.8 as well as the Qiuyuan story as well as the new 3.0 drip feed that we got for the characters in 3.0 for Wuthering Waves. And I want to do all this kind of together because I feel like it all kind of ties in together really nicely, and I have some thoughts on each part, or all three parts. But I hope you guys are enjoying Wuthering Waves. I hope you guys enjoyed the patches and all the stuff. And if you do enjoy it and you enjoy this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Very much appreciated. But let's get into it. And to start off, I'm going to, because we're kind of on the current patch, so I'll be talking about Chisa a bit. And unfortunately for me, as you can see, I'm low on funds. I'll probably get them back up later, but I ended up losing 50-50 to her, to Calcharo, who, as you can see here, where is my Calcharo? Calculator himself is now at dupe number 5. So I will take that. One more dupe and he's maxed out. But the reason why I wanted to mention that is I honestly think I just want to throw in a quick suggestion for the Wuthering Waves team is to please add something like capturing radiance that Genshin Impact has, because I know too many people who keep losing 50-50s for like each characters, and that honestly never feels good at all, and it's something that will hurt the player base, because having to go to pity or guarantee every time isn't a fun thing. So like a capturing radiance style system for Wuo would be great. So I wanted to mention that first. But to talk more about the patch itself, I really feel like 2.8 really should have been called like 2.7 interlude, or like something else, maybe off story, or give it a different name, because while it did have some main story tie-in, I feel like it could have been done better if it was in the similar fashion that Qiuyuan's story was done in, where you kind of experience the story through his eyes. I feel like it would have been an interesting way of experiencing the story through Chisa's eyes, and then maybe Rover pops in later on, but that was just something that was coming off my head because I immediately went from the Qiuyuan story into this. So actually I'm gonna leave my character chilling like this. And I appreciated the story for what it was. Maybe it's because I watch a lot of anime and play a lot of anime video games, JRPGs. I didn't have too much issue with it, other than I feel like it kind of should have maybe been marketed differently, but that's all for that. Hopefully kurogames can look at the Qiuyuan story and use it going forward when they want to kind of like tie in these companion quests into the story, because I feel like the way they did that story, where you saw it through Qiuyuan's like point of view instead of being told from the Rover's point of view, I feel like that a million times is a better solution. So I'm hoping that they better utilize that for other characters going into the future. And I don't want to spoil too much on the Qiuyuan thing. I'm just going to say it was a really great story. They teased my boy Qiuyuan again, and I need them to just drop that character already. But coming over to Hanami City, as you can see with the blossoms everywhere, the number one thing I liked in this region is all the way over here, as I am going to slowly fall down towards. This is something because I'm a huge fan of it, and the creator of it is this. The throwback slash reference to Kimi no Nawa, or aka Your Name in English, which literally this is just amazing, and I'm kind of happy they kind of put that in they did it in the exact same way in this kind of Japanese style region. So definitely loving that reference. And I like the works of Makoto Shinkai, who was the creator of Your Name. So this is a great thing that I saw, and I immediately like jotted it down in my notes. I was like, this needs to be talked about. I like that type of stuff. So that was great. But, well, before I even do my but, overall, I will say that, oh geez. I will say that the overall world here is pretty beautiful. And I think no one else will have an issue with me saying that. I do wish we got to explore a little bit more, or at least, like, for example, I know we have to use the event to kind of go around the world here, and I feel like they shouldn't have done that, because if we go to the map, we kind of have just like these areas. And if we're gonna, I have not done much of the mini event because I just didn't really care for it too much. But I did like what we saw so far, and even the nightmare zone that we had in this region was pretty cool. But yeah, I will say though, as beautiful as this area is, because of, if you've played through the story, you know how Chisa and other resonators were treated in this kind of fictional Japanese area, and I honestly think they deserve the lament for how they treated their resonators. And for any of you who's wondering what I'm talking about, if I go to Chisa, that neck thing, I'm gonna assume that it is gonna go boom boom if they decide to just get rid of resonators. I don't like that at all. So that and how people treated Chisa when she was in the city, I really don't like that. That's just my take on that. And hold on, I will get to like the summary of the story, but I do want to just talk about things that came in this patch, and including the region. But one of the things that came in this patch is something that I'm once again disappointed in. These deluxe skins. I don't know, man. But as you can see on this screen, it's another deluxe skin. It personally, I dislike the deluxe skins, not just for their prices, but because they were just in what I consider low quality and low effort. Now, I know some people will like them. I personally do not. I, by accident, purchased my Chang-Li one, mainly because I just like Chang-Li, but I regret this purchase every day. This one we got for free. I know other players will have to purchase it, but we got this one for free. And then I bought the Jinsei one. And as you can see, that kind of has like the golden towel. This one is something I wish they would do, because one of my main problems with Wuthering Waves is they introduced the skin system and the weapon skin system, and then they did nothing with it. We had this Jinsei skin, which a lot of people liked. It came with like there's the skill animations, the ultimate animations, the weapon skin, and no other skins have come with it. Like, I understand for 4-star characters, keep them as 4-star characters get these kind of like signature ones, not even a deluxe, and that's the only 4-star one. So you're kind of just like, these deluxe skins don't have anything to them. There's no skill animation, nothing, but they're expensive. And my problem with it is, because of Wuthering Waves, I started playing kurogames' other game, Punch and Go Raven. It's on my channel. You hear me guys talk about it a lot. And whenever they do skins over there, it's always the full style. They do the skill animations. They do just the characters' looks and stuff. And we have the icons and labels and all that stuff. And it's just like, I don't understand why they can't do the same here. They've already done it once for a character, and they just decided to never do it again. Like, for example, tons of people I know wanted this Carlotta skin because, because they showed, like, as you can see, like the water gun in it, but they decided against actually including one. Now, I don't know if they're gonna come out in the future and be like, hey, yeah, we made this into a full premium skin and it has the water gun. But then at that point, I would be like, hey, you should probably give it to these people who bought the skin for free, because this is kind of disappointing. And what I mentioned earlier was they keep introducing things, skins and outfits type stuff. Like, for example, this aspect thing that came, which is essentially just the glider and the flying wings. Like, why? Why is this getting something and these characters can't get anything? And then we also got, for I think, was it 2.8, we got the, it's not even available here. You have to go into the character screen and go to Rover to get the terminal. You have the gliders having this. Then you have the weapons skins. There's the invisible weapons that were a part of an event back in 1.4. We've never had them again. They have never brought them up. They have never added them to anything in the world. We have this one over here, which we got for free, but they've just never done anything with it. Like, for example, I think I have it in my notes. Why doesn't the Rover have a Black Shores skin yet? That's probably one of the easiest things. We know the Rover's from the Black Shores or helped found the area. Like, here's a Black Shores member right here. Like, why can't we have a fit? Whether you're male or female. Personally, I like this one where it's kind of like the overcoat jacket. But you see it there in game and it's just like, why doesn't Rover have one yet? And now let me go back to the Zani one and why I think it's just disappointing. Because if I bring it up on screen now, you'll see in this image, this is all or some of the Zani outfit ideas that come from Wuthering Waves' own Twitter page. So you could probably go into the media tab on Wuthering Waves' media on Twitter, and you'll find these skin outfit ideas, and you're just like, any one of these would have done better for Zani, but we didn't get those. And it's not only for this character. For example, if I close that up real quick, and I'm going to show a different one. Now, as you can see, this image, there's tons of, there's this, I'm guessing people made it for the Star Torch Academy. Like, everyone's having outfits, and there's tons more. I've shown them in my other videos and my other feedback and suggestion videos for Wuthering Waves, my first one and my second one. I think in between some other stuff. But there's so many ideas where these skins could be done in a better way and people would buy. And I think it's just a good market for skins, because some people may say, oh, well, they kind of want to focus only on characters and not really skins. But then for a lot of patches beforehand, I think even at the beginning of 2.0, they were sending out feedbacks. Hey, how many skins do you guys want? How often would you guys like skins? What genres would you like? And tons of people answered those questions, but then we get nothing. And their other game, PGR, gets a lot. Like, I'll put it on screen now if I can find it, but we've had characters like Veronica Aegis come out, and I think she already has 2 skins already out from the get-go, and she's only come out, what, in the last month or 2? So she's had 2 skins. Nanami Star Trail has 2 or 3 skins. I think our newest character, Bianca, has a skin or 2. And it's just, it gets me wondering why they aren't putting forth that same energy for Wuthering Waves, when it's kind of like sitting on a market where tons of people love skins. I mentioned it a lot. Warframe, people love skins. Do It Night Abyss, that came out recently, people love skins. Marvel Rivals, people love skins. And it's just across the board, no matter what genre. Like, even fighting games, Street Fighter 6 has tons of skins and outfits and stuff. Well, they need more, but they have some and people buy them. They sell well, but you have to put in like effort. So I don't want to harp on too long for that, but I did want to mention that because sadly I see this as a disappointing skin. Because one, I don't think this fits Zani aesthetic at all. And then two, it could have been like a full skin with like a weapon or something. Heck, you could have turned her weapon into this like umbrella for all that matters. But that's that. And then something else that kind of spans the Qiuyuan story into 2.8 and into 3.0, like drip feeding. I really want to say, can they please add one or two more male characters in a region? I'm not asking for a mountain ton of male characters, just one or two extra per region, because I believe if we come into, where's the gallery? I think we had about roughly, what, 12 female characters from Renacida to Septimont, and even if we're counting Chisa. So, like, if we really count it, it's like there's 3 here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 actually. So 13 if we're including Chisa. But then you look at the male characters from this same region. You had 1 from Renacida. I thought Avidius would have been a great addition for Septimont as a 4-star or 5-star. We didn't get him because, for those who know, you know, story-wise. And then Qiuyuan, who's technically Ming Ting / Jinzhou, but he showed up in Septimont. So 2 in comparison to 13. And I know I'm not the only person talking about this. There's tons of people from like the Japanese side to and I know a couple of the Chinese players who want it to, and just worldwide. We're not asking for like a crazy amount of male characters, but if you added 1 or 2 male characters, like, I don't think people would complain. But that's just something I wanted to bring up. And then let's talk about one bigly issue that tons of people have. Oh, I'm just gonna teleport over there. Is the Nightmare Nest. I know that kurogames, you guys keep adding these. These are really nice. This one especially is really nice. But the problem with these zones is they don't give echo tubes. Sorry. We go over here to Nightmare Echoes. As you can see, they just give exclusively the Nightmare Echoes. And for some reason, kurogames isn't doing tacit fields anymore. But the only way to get tuners other than like events or echo tubes is by doing these tacit fields. So essentially, you would have to go back and do tacit fields that don't have anything to do with the new characters. Like, for example, like what? This is what? Qiuyuan. And this, I think Galbrina uses 1 or 2 pieces from this. And then this is Cardathia's set. So if we really look at that, then we have to go to Nightmare Echoes, and this is where every other character's been. This is Augusta. I think this is Frolova. Galbrina over here. Chisa over here. And then they maybe use 1 or 2 from like the base set, because these are like 3 sets. But if you really think about it, the last tacit field was for Cardathia, and if we're going by the release date 2.0, and then you have Cardathia here, that means every other character past her, that's what? That's 6, 7 characters have been just nightmare fields, but those nightmare fields don't give echo tubes. I don't know if kurogames is trying to starve out players for echo tubes. Maybe they have some back-end data that we don't, and they're saying, hey, maybe players have too much echo tubes. I'm saying the opposite. So I would say you don't have to. I would say at the end of a Nightmare Nest or Nightmare Field, just add a box that pops up that gives a certain amount of echo tubes. Now it doesn't. You can't give like a small amount, like 4, like the normal echo or tacit fields, because we can't farm these nightmare. We can only do them once a day. So I don't know, maybe anywhere from like 10 to 16, I don't know. But that is something I wanted to get across. Now, other than that, I think those are all the ideas or thoughts I had on just the stuff in between patches, in between those three things. To get to my kind of like story thoughts, I would overall say that it's a nice segue patch that introduced a lot of like interesting concepts, especially the information about the Void Storm for Laha Roy, and it looks like all the things that Chisa wants to do fall in line with Rover now, especially since we heard her mom on the radio at Star Torch when this portal opened. Sorry, I'm trying to find my way back up. There it is. But yeah, I think that hearing her mom was a good, nice touch to kind of show her that, hey, yeah, she's been here alone this entire time trying to finish what her friend started. And hearing her mom is like, oh, my parents still care. So that was a good, nice touch. At least for me, that's what I think. So if you guys think differently, please let me know in the comments down below. But I thought that was a nice touch. And I think, like I mentioned earlier, I think this was the story would have done better in the overall like Wuthering community if it was kind of marketed as an interlude patch and done in the way of Qiuyuan's story, but that's just one person's opinion. Now, Chisa as a character for the story is a very interesting character because she's not a damsel in distress or anything. She is struggling on her own in this place that's not her home for a long time, but she's not necessarily a damsel because she can fight for herself, and she was holding off for a long time without us. And especially after she lost her best friend, the one who came from the Dark Shores. So she's definitely an interesting character that I definitely hope that we get to see more of, and I think we probably will once we finish off her story in Laha Roy with Star Torch Academy and her mother. And I know some people had issues with her calling Rover Senpai after revealing that Rover 2 had attended Star Torch Academy. And I think the main thing is the reason why she was, I don't know if affectionate would be the term, because the academy was just one of the few good places to her in her life where people supported and cared for her, especially after I mentioned earlier how in this kind of like fictional Japanese area, they didn't necessarily treat Resonators all too well when Resonators came out or were found out about. So the academy is good, and to my knowledge of Asian culture, referring to older individuals is normally done in a proper way, aka senpai, especially if you're in the same school. You don't really go about calling people their name unless you're super close, and even then in a public setting you tend to call them like senpai or something like that. But Chisa didn't really reveal Rover's background at Star Torch till after we got to a certain part in the story, so overall it wasn't that big of a deal for me. Now I know some people did have an issue with it, but it just wasn't for me. Maybe it's just I watch too many animes and K-dramas, but that's what it is. The good thing though is that Chisa now has kind of like a lot of friends and associates in the Black Shores, especially now that we've kind of sprung her free, and she'll probably have even more friends back at Star Torch Academy when we head off to Laha Roy. And I don't know how I necessarily feel about the Rover potentially having like a school arc, and I kind of hope the devs don't go that route. Because, hey, yeah, maybe touch on the fact that the Rover was a student back there, or maybe a professor back at the academy, and maybe kind of do flashbacks. But I don't want the Rover to actively have a school arc, because I feel like those school arcs, if anyone's an anime fan, you know, like they're either make or break. They can either keep people or they can lose people quickly. And personally, I don't think it necessarily fits Rover's aesthetic to be, hey, yeah, Rover's gonna go to school now. Like, no, like we've been saving the world. We have bigger fish to fry. But I do like how everything is kind of connecting. 3.0, I'll definitely have to see how they go about handling Rover's role at Star Torch Academy. I wonder if anyone at Star Torch Academy will recognize Rover, or they'll have access to those records, because it's been a long time. Because as we know, Rover kind of goes through like mind wipes every now and then in generations. So that's that. And then also us heading to Laharoy kind of puts us on the path to once again confront the Fraxidus, because at the end of, I think, what, 2.7, the big Avengers Assemble finale, the architect did say, hey, yeah, now time to see all of our work in Laharoy. Let's head over there now. So we're definitely gonna have to see them again, and I'm hoping that with that kind of confrontation gonna come to a head soon, is that Kurogames can finally give us Genshu Lin, who they teased in the Qiuyuan story, as well as all the way back in like 1.0 or 1.x. And then also there's Cristoforo, who they mistakenly teased on their Twitter page before they changed it. I know someone out there, I think if I find it, I'll put it up on screen right now. But someone out there probably has it as well, where they put the stars on the character reveal when they were showing it on Twitter, and then someone had to go and change it or remove it. So who knows? Because people may say, oh, well, Cristoforo is an enemy, but I'm like, I raise you one for Lova. So there's that. There's also people have been wanting Scar for a long time since he was released, but I don't think we'll necessarily get Scar, because Scar is like a heavy villain who just wants pure chaos always. But yeah, that's where I'll end off with kind of the 2.8, breathing a little bit into 3.0, and then now I'm gonna switch over really quick to kind of take a look at and give my thoughts on the 3.0 like drip feed that was on their Twitter. So let's swap over really quick. And yeah, as you can see on screen, we have a couple of the characters here. We have more, I don't know how to pronounce her name. Mornay. That's how I'm gonna thank you for the hashtags up here. And funny enough, this character, because maybe now I play Punishing Grey Raven, PGR, this character, especially their legs, remind me of two characters. There's Bambita from PGR, as well as my love, Ishmael Parhelion, who when she goes into her ultimate form, her legs kind of turn into that translucent style. And if I find any video footage of me playing, actually funny enough, I'll probably do like Warzone or something, and I'll put it up on screen right now so you guys can see what I mean on how her legs look and how they look similar to Moraine's legs. But definitely interesting character. The kind of gray whitish hair with the red eyes is a nice touch. And to move on from her, we have Lucilia, who I'm honestly like, she gives me heavy Himiko vibes. If anyone's ever played Honkai Star Rail, the kind of like mom of the group, the stylish mom of the group. So I definitely see that for her. And then we have Sigrika, who I see she has like elf ears. So finally someone else other than Yinlin who has elf ears. But while I'm even on the thought of Yinlin, please Kurogames give her a leap system or something to help her out. But that's all I'm gonna say on Yinlin. Now, all of these designs so far have been relatively okay. I have no problems with them. I think they kind of fit the region, because if we're reminded, Laharoy is in the middle of like a void storm, and I think they're in a weird region because of weather. But there's that, as well as Luke Harrison, who I'm guessing he's going to be a noble in that region or one of the higher ups, because none of the other characters have last names but him. Like if we go back, like no one else but the male character has a last name. The last time we got something like that was the Montellis and the Falasia family for both Carlotta and Cantarella. So characters of importance to the story. And his design, I don't know how I feel about it. He seems to be like a scientist because you got the test tubes and everything in his hand. Who knows? Maybe those test tubes will be kind of like his attacks. Maybe he'll kind of throw them or use them to heal. Maybe he'll be a support. And honestly, I hope not a support, because they kind of did that to my boy Qiuyuan, even though he's like a super cool like swordsman. Or maybe he can have these things on his outer region. They kind of remind me, if anyone's ever played Final Fantasy 14, like the Sage's weapons in Final Fantasy 14 for that healer class. So maybe it's something like that, and these attack for him. And then last but not least, we have the Garu Lene, who off rip, I watch a lot of anime and I just like her aesthetic. She nails that Garu feel 1,000,000%. And funny enough, the only character who afterwards, after they drip feed the other characters, the only one who they showed like this kind of promotional thing for. And I kind of hope that that bike is a part of her aesthetic, because if anyone's played Punishing Gray Raven, we have Lucia Crimson Weave there, who also rides a bike. So I kind of hope that they integrate this bike into her kit. Like maybe pull a Dante from DMC and maybe she bumps the bike into enemies and kind of like swirls around, kind of like, for anyone who remembers, Inferno Rider all the way back in 1.0, who likes using his bike to fight. It'd definitely be interesting if they're doing that. And if it's not that, I hope that, because I remember kurogames mentioning, hey, we're not doing flight in other areas, we're gonna do other modes of transportation. And I gave the feedback they could do hoverboards like Wuthering or like Warframe. They can do arc wings like Warframe. I'll put those all on screen right now. And they can also do a bike for transportation. And if anything, this would probably be the perfect time to collab with like Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, because Cloud has a bike in that. That immediately brought my thoughts to Final Fantasy. But I do love this entire aesthetic with the bike. But yeah, I think that's all on the 3.0 characters. I'm probably most excited for her as well as Mornay, because I want to see what these characters do, because she seems to be kind of like sitting on this like platform, and I'm wondering if she's going to be using that in the battlefield. Imagine a character that just never gets off their platform, and they kind of like, it's kind of like hovering over the ground as she's fighting. But yeah, I think that is it. If you have, please, if you have any thoughts on what I presented here in this video, please put them in the comments down below. Any thoughts? What do you think about the 3.0 drip feed characters? Which character will you be going for first, or which character would you like to see first? What did you think about the Qiuyuan story? What did you think about 2.8 and how they handled telling Chisa's story? Please put all of that in the comment section down below. I would love to talk to you guys. I would love to learn all your thoughts on all of this, so we can hopefully make a better game going into the future. And if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. It would be very much appreciated. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and weekend, or day and week. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Later.